As a former award-winning adult film star, my income depended on my ability to get and maintain a boner. And a lot of it came down to what I ate, because without the right nutrients, our body literally cannot pump blood effectively to the old boy downstairs. So today, I'm gonna go over the ultimate diet for rock-hard, diamond-like erections. And as a side effect of this diet, you'll also experience sky-high testosterone, increased libido, and your fat loss and muscle building capabilities will be significantly enhanced. And the best part, these foods are so common you probably already have some of them in your fridge. And if not, you can easily add them to your grocery list or order these foods on the menu whenever you are out at a restaurant. And if you stick around, I'll also reveal to you the one drink I would take the night before every scene that gave me raging boners the moment I woke up, and they stayed around during the scene the whole day. You'll likely have the ingredients for this already, and it takes 30 seconds to make. So let's get stuck into it. First, to understand why these foods are so powerful, you have to understand what makes an erection happen. You see, the strength of your boner is dictated by blood flow. And what dictates blood flow is how much blood you can pump and how smoothly it can flow through your arteries, both of which are directly linked to your diet. So if you have a bad diet, it's like trying to inflate a car tire, aka your wang, with a little hand pump. And the hose that attaches to the pump is kinked and it's super thin. You're not going to pump air effectively, and the tire will never fully inflate because more air is leaking out than coming back into it. Whereas a good diet allows you to have a proper pump, aka good hormones, good nerve function, and good sex drive, and a proper working hose, aka blood vessels, that are not filled with plaque and can dilate and relax properly so blood can flow through them. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do today. Starting with foods you need to stop eating, because there are certain foods that will kill your erection, and it won't matter if you're eating all the right things if you're still consistently eating the bad ones. And unfortunately, these foods are quite common in our diets today, so it's important we go over them first. Starting with processed foods. Foods like French fries, frozen pizza, frozen dinners, soft drinks, any foods from a fast food restaurant basically, are terrible for you for so many reasons. First is all the added sugars and refined carbohydrates and high fructose corn syrup. It causes unnatural blood sugar spikes, which first of all lead to insulin resistance and diabetes later on. But also it inflames and damages the lining of your arteries, causing less nitric oxide to be produced. And nitric oxide is the molecule that dilates and widens our blood vessels, allowing blood to pass through them. Without this molecule, we literally can't get an erection, or a pump in the gym for that matter. Alcohol, especially drinking things like hoppy beers, are one of the biggest testosterone killers. It contains a ton of phytoestrogens, which mimic estrogen in your body and lower your testosterone levels. Not to mention the truckload of unnecessary calories you're consuming, which is gonna make you fat. Soy. Similar to alcohol, soy also contains some of the highest concentrations of phytoestrogen, which mimic estrogen in your body, lower testosterone, and cause a whole bunch of feminizing effects. Aspartame is a very popular artificial sweetener found in diet sodas, sugar-free drinks, cereals, even yogurts. But unfortunately, it's basically chemical castration. According to the National Library of Medicine, aspartame damages the Leydig cells in your balls, which reduces testosterone production. In many countries like France, this stuff is actually banned in foods. So now that you know what foods to avoid, we can now get into the good stuff. And we're going to call this the erection diet. I'll be going over exactly what foods to eat, from veggies to meats, so that you can give your body all of the nutrients it needs to keep your blood vessels healthy, testosterone production high, and get the libido of a 20-year-old. I'll give you this entire list of foods for each category first, then I'm going to explain exactly why I chose those foods. Starting off with vegetables. We have things like beetroot, spinach, broccoli and cauliflower, cruciferous vegetables, celery, arugula, kale, cabbage. The beetroot, the spinach, and the arugula are powerhouses for nitrates, and nitrates are the building block for nitric oxide. And an interesting note on the beetroot is that non-organic beetroot is actually better for this because it has a higher concentration of nitrates due to artificial fertilizer use. The rest of the veggies are anti-estrogenic, thus keeping a healthy balance of testosterone in your body. They also support the lining of your blood vessels, which results in more nitric oxide production. Celery in particular is also good for fertility and improving semen volume. As a former adult film star, I used to chop 4 to 5 sticks of celery the night before a scene because it would make my loads noticeably thicker and wider the next day. And anyone who has tried this, by the way, reports the exact same experience. Do with that information what you will. Let's talk about meats. Now, on the meat category, we have things like grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb, beef liver, wild-caught fish, hormone-free and pasture-raised pork, hormone-free and pasture-raised chicken, and again, hormone-free pasture-raised eggs. Now, here's where things can go against mainstream health advice. Red meat is fantastic for you. It gives you cholesterol and saturated fats, which are literally the main building blocks of testosterone and many of your hormones. We need cholesterol, and we get plenty of it in things like beef, lamb, beef liver, and eggs. So essentially, grass-fed red meat and eggs are where you'll get the highest concentrations of good cholesterols, good fats, micronutrients, all things which support hormone production and many other processes in your body in a very natural way. So ideally, you get the most of your protein from these sources, but if you can't for some reason, the next best would be some kind of wild-caught fish or a hormone-free and pasture-raised pork or chicken. It's super important you're getting your protein from these sources because it's going to dictate your hormones, including how much testosterone you can produce, which will obviously directly affect your sex drive, your metabolism, your muscle building capabilities, and a lot more. Now, a quick note on beef liver. It is a superfood due to the high concentration of micronutrients, but it's not something that you want to be eating every single day because you can easily overdose on vitamin A. Not that I expect many of you to do that because most people hate the taste of liver, but overdosing on vitamin A can cause liver damage and a host of other problems. So be aware of that. If you're going to eat beef liver, don't consume more than like 4 ounces of it a week. Now, while we're here, do you remember when I told you at the beginning of this video about a secret drink that I would take the night before every scene that gave me raging boners the next day? That drink is what I call the boner shake, and it is simply 4 raw eggs, a scoop of vanilla protein powder for some taste, and mixing it up. The eggs are really the key ingredient here. If you drink this at night, what you're doing is you're supplying your body with a ton of cholesterol. And again, cholesterol is the building block that your body uses to make testosterone while you sleep. And if you try this, I guarantee you're going to wake up the next day with a raging hard on. This is one of my porn industry secrets for you. Try it and let me know what you think. Let's get into fruits now. Here, we have things like pomegranate, watermelon, and cucumber. These fruits all directly influence your blood flow because they contain 2 key nutrients, L-citrulline and L-arginine. These are both precursors to nitric oxide, which, like I said before, is the molecule that dictates your blood vessel's ability to dilate and allow blood to flow. Some people refer to these fruits as nature's Viagra because, again, they dictate your ability to get an erection. So add these fruits into your diet ASAP if you haven't already. And you can also throw all of them together and juice them up or add them to a smoothie. Now, as for your source of fats, we have things like avocados or avocado oil, good quality cheeses, olives, olive oil, butter, tallow, and sparingly mixed nuts. These foods are high in unsaturated and monounsaturated fats, which aren't found as much in meat. You need these fats to absorb vitamins, make hormones, support brain function, and keep your hunger cravings in check. As a bonus, fats also improve the lining of your blood vessels, which means more nitric oxide being produced. And a quick note on butter, tallow, and avocado oil. These are better alternatives to use for cooking in place of seed oils that everyone is using these days. Seed oils like canola oil, grapeseed oil, sunflower oil, and so on can cause inflammation in your body and in your arteries. So try and avoid seed oils and cook these better oils instead. So that's the end of the food list. Now, before we move on to some meal ideas and what supplements are good for erections, some of you might be wondering why I haven't included any pure carbs like rice, pasta, noodles, potatoes, bread. The problem with a lot of carbs we have today, especially in the Western diet, is that these carbs are so highly processed. And remember what I said in the beginning about avoiding processed foods. These foods tend to unnaturally spike your blood sugar levels, so they are very inflammatory and can cause all kinds of issues. So personally, I'd much rather get my carbs from vegetables and fruits on this list than these really high glycemic index foods like grains, pastas, noodles, etc. And I would recommend you do the same. And you'll also see a significant reduction in body fat by doing that. So now that I've given you this entire list of foods on the porn star erection diet, here are some quick meal ideas for you in case you want to make some meals yourself. I've also put these recipes on screen, so feel free to screenshot them if you like. First, we've got grilled salmon and broccoli. Next, we have a basic chicken soup. Pulled slow cooker pork and coleslaw, my favorites. Roast lamb with veggies. Oh my god, it tastes so good with a nice bit of rosemary on it. And lastly, let's get into some supplements. Now, out of all the foods we've covered today, this section should be your last priority, honestly. You can do a whole lot more with whole foods than you can with these supplements. Supplements won't really help if your core diet is absolute trash. But if you're already eating the right foods, then taking the right supplements can take you from 100% to 150%. That said, the supplements we're going to talk about are L-citrulline, L-arginine. As mentioned, these are precursors for nitric oxide. I actually recommend taking the two in combination because their effects together is amplified much more powerfully than just taking them individually. Vitamin K2, the MK7 variant. This is known for clearing out calcium deposits in your arteries, which improves blood flow, and is especially important if you're supplementing with vitamin D, because vitamin D without vitamin K will result in calcium buildup in your arteries. Finally, we have Icarin, which is similar to vitamin K2 in that it helps clear out calcium deposits, aka plaque, from your arteries. So, there you have it. You now have a comprehensive list of what to eat to support rock-solid erection. And again, you don't have to eat everything on this list. Pick and choose based on your preferences and what you can actually manage. But if you start mostly eating the foods on this list, I promise you, you're going to begin feeling differences in not just your erections, but in your energy levels, your mood, your sex drive, your mental clarity, and a lot. But there's just one problem. Just eating the right foods often isn't quite the full picture because there are many toxins in our environment as well that are disrupting our hormones, causing infertility and also causing boner issues. Toxins in your very own house, your kitchen, and even your bedroom, which you aren't aware of. So I highly suggest checking out this video right over here where I reveal all the major toxins we are exposing ourselves to in our regular life, day to day, and most importantly, what to do about them.